Everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're gonna watch some YouTube, as you know. No, guys.
With Sky Mobile, you can snap up the amazing iPhone 15 and take standout photos in incredible detail with a 48-megapixel main camera. From just £23 a month, excluding data plan. All on the network that lets you change your plan to suit you and always have the latest iPhone on Sky Mobile, the UK's fastest growing network.
Samsung has just launched a bucket load of next-gen products. There's new folding phones, there's new earphones, new watches, including for the first time ever a Watch Ultra, and then the thing that I've been most excited about, the Galaxy Ring. And I've just been hands-on with all of it, and fingers in. So here's what's good, and here's what's less good. So there's two new phones, the Z Flip 6 and then the Z Fold 6. And I gotta say, I have a lot of respect for this flip, because it is a design improvement. In fact, compared to the last flip, I think it looks smarter from every angle. It looks cleaner, it feels cleaner thanks to the matte finish on the sides. The camera rings now match the color of the body you pick. The hinge protrudes out less, and crucially, the display crease on the inside is less noticeable. Oh, and the screen also has a new layer that makes it more impact resistant, plus a new coating that's meant to reduce scratches and also fingerprints. Major key feature if that works out over time. But the thing that I'm really happy about is that the design is not the focus here. All of the best improvements are under the hood. It's got the latest Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip, now with, for the first time ever on a flip phone, a vapor chamber, which gets heat away from that chip to keep it fast. It's got improved speakers, it's got 12 gigs of RAM by default instead of last year's 8 gigs, a bigger 4,000 mAh battery instead of 3,700, and an inner screen that now goes up to 2,600 nits of brightness compared to 1750. These are substantial jumps. The ultra-wide camera has been upgraded slightly with a bigger sensor, but the main camera has been upgraded majorly. This is now 50 megapixel after having been 12 for far too long, and it's much better for it. It's good enough now that even without any separate dedicated zoom camera, you can still zoom in 10 times and get a sharp output. There's a couple of strange features that accompany those improvements, like a camcorder mode which nudges all the controls to the other side of the screen for your thumb, but I don't understand why anyone would want to do this. This isn't a 90s camcorder, and that's a good thing. And then the cameras can now also auto-zoom while taking photos using your front screen, but the feature's a little bit slow to be useful. The important thing is that the cameras are finally not just passable on the Z Flips, but actually good. Another interesting tidbit I found out during my briefing was that Z Flip users change their wallpaper more times than any other type of phone user, which I guess is why Samsung is leaning into a few funky cosmetic extras too, like interactive wallpapers that you can tilt, flip, and touch. I don't really see the appeal beyond the first 10 minutes though. There's ambient photos, which means whatever wallpaper you apply to your cover screen, you can mirror the current time of day and weather conditions onto it. That I might actually use. And then they're also introducing the FlipSuit 2.0 cases, which can have LEDs embedded inside the case that can draw power from the phone to light up when notifications come in. I wouldn't personally buy one, but I sure enjoyed seeing it. The final thing though, and the thing that I wasn't expecting to see coming into this, is that these folding phones are also where Samsung is showing off their next-gen Galaxy AI, and it's actually improving rather quickly. There's a couple of bits that I'm not so sure about, like when someone messages you now, you get smart suggested replies. On your cover screen. The phone looks at the last 7 messages sent to understand the tone of the conversation and then serves you up your options. I need to test it more thoroughly to see if it actually nails human tone, because that's typically a key failing point, but the idea is solid. There's Portrait Studio photo editing, which lets you use a photo that you've taken with a person in, and then AI turns that person's face into a highly stylized depiction. It does work quite well, but I don't know what I would use it for. It would be cool if it applied the effect to the entire image and not just your face, but as it stands, all I can think of is you could maybe use it to generate some slightly uncanny valley alternative profile pictures of yourself. But live translation, you know the feature that we saw earlier this year when Samsung announced Galaxy AI, that wasn't very good. That is noticeably better here. These new phones are now starting with an AI that has access to an improved language pack, improved microphones that can pick up your voice better, and improved AI noise suppression that lets those microphones focus just on what you're saying. I'm not sure which of these ingredients is making the most difference, but in my early testing, the feature does seem to work quite a bit better and faster than it did at launch. Oh yeah, and it also now works on third-party apps, so we can have a live translation call on WhatsApp. But there's an extra twist now, because you can also have that translation experience while in the same room as another person, thanks to an updated interpreter mode, which lets you use both screens at the same time, so each person can only see their own language. It's still not 100% there with the translation, but I can feel it creeping closer. And until ChatGPT's real-time translation feature fully rolls out, this is probably the best implementation of it that I've ever seen. And what I'm pretty happy about is that the Flip 6 is all of these things, and at least here in the UK, without going up in price. It's still £1,049. There are actually a few more AI features, but I'll show you the rest on the Fold 6. Because this phone is interesting for the opposite reason. It's much less about internal improvements, but has had a lot more work done to the exterior, with sadly also a £50 price bump versus last year. So it's immediately noticeably lighter at 239 grams, and it comes with this new titanium frame, which is making it only 7 grams heavier than the non-folding S24 Ultra. It's thinner, it's 5.6 millimeters when it's open. The S24 Ultra is 8.6 for context. They've made it shorter and wider, which in my books are actually both perks. So you can actually reach the top of the phone and also feel like you have a more natural ratio to type and scroll pages with on the cover screen. And it just looks so much neater from the front. The squared edges, the slimmer, even borders, the fact that those borders actually follow the natural curve of the device. And this fold is actually where you particularly notice the more compact hinge. You could probably fool just about anyone at this point into thinking this is a normal, non-folding flagship phone. Now there are also spec bumps here. Again, the latest Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip with a 1.6 times larger vapor chamber than the last gen. The screens are super bright, both inside and outside